this is the Math 1033 Boot Camp, which is designed to be an overview, orientation to the Learning Commons, and a little bit of the math from Math 1033 that you'll experience early on in the semester to kind of get your brain going. So a little bit about the Learning Commons. Our hours of face-to-face operations are 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., Monday through Thursday. On Fridays, we do close at 5. However, I am going to talk to you about an option of being able to get tutoring even on the weekends or 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. Since we are still in the middle of a pandemic, we are asking that you be respectful. We will provide masks and wipes and hand sanitizers, and you just respectfully ask everybody to be respectful of everybody else and whatever situations they may be going through. All right, so the first thing we want to do to really get deep into what the Learning Commons provides is we have a short 2-minute video that we're going to watch, and our director walks you through the different services and resources that we have here for you. So here we go.
The Learning Commons at Tallahassee Community College, your one-stop shop learning support center. The Learning Commons provides tutoring conferences, academic success coaching, virtual resources, and computer access to all enrolled TCC students. The Learning Commons offers tutoring conferences in reading and writing for all classes, mathematics, sciences, business, English skills, Spanish, and technology. Our staff of highly trained learning specialists and tutors are happy to assist students with their current classes in person or virtually using online platforms such as Zoom, Smart Thinking, or email. Academic success coaching in the Learning Commons is offered to all students to help them advance their college success skills, navigate the new college environment, and achieve their academic and personal goals. Work with an academic success coach one-on-one to sharpen your time management, study skills, or online learning. Or you can join us for one of our success workshops offered throughout the semester. Follow us on social media, on MyTCC, and keep up with our latest events by checking out the calendar on our homepage. The Learning Commons hosts a number of events, including Boot Camp, an introduction to many of our first-year courses, test reviews for some of our most popular math and science classes, and our Recharge Workshop series to help you brush up on your test taking, motivational, and writing skills. We look forward to working with you soon.
All right, so the next thing we want to do is look at some things that are very specific to Math 1033, what we can and what we cannot provide. So we have so many handouts to support this class. We have a bookmark with all the formulas that you're going to need, extra practice workshops, and all the test reviews are already been recorded. You can go to ones that are live this semester, but at any point in time, you could always go access the others. Since you have 3 tests this semester, I will be doing 3 test reviews on Zoom and a final exam review just in time for each of those. And we really like calculators here at the Learning Commons. So if you have a calculator question, bring it in and we'll help you figure it out. There are 2 things that we have to say that we're really not allowed to help with. If you have a take-home quiz or test, the instructor has not said on it somewhere very explicitly that we can help you, we cannot provide assistance to that. And if you have missed class, then you need to go to your instructor first, get the material that you've missed or watch the videos. Once you've started the material and see what you understand and what you don't understand, then come on back and we're good to go. All right, so I said I was going to talk to you about all those resources that I mentioned. So we're going to go to the Learning Commons page. All right, so I'm actually going to go back a step and go to the main homepage so you can see how to get here. So if you need to get to Canvas, that's up under quick access. Learning Commons is on resources, Learning Commons. And then depending on what you need, there's a 2-minute video that we just watched, but we're going to go up at the top where it says tutoring and resources. All right, if you're ready to get tutoring, then you just check in right here with your Eagle Q. We call it QLess. because you don't have to wait in line in person. You can check in and wait, and your phone will let you know when you're next in line and when it's your turn. So let's go to the math page. The math page has a tab for every class that we support here at TCC. So you can see before Math 1033, there are several classes that provide foundational information. So if you find that you're struggling with something in Math 1033, it might be because you need to go back and check out some of the topics in a more basic level. But let's look at the 1033 tab. Here is one of my favorites, the 1033 bookmark, which has all the formulas that you need. And then it's been broken down by topics. So all the topics that you will cover this semester, we have something to help you. And additional worksheets. There's no instruction on these, or just extra practice problems that might be good to do, like if you want to sit with a tutor and work through some problems. And then at the bottom of the page, you can see that we have all the test reviews. And so you can watch them ahead of time, or you can wait for the live one this semester. Okay, let's go back to this one. Now, Smart Thinking, there is a video on our website also how to access the tutoring that's outside of hours. But when I open up your Canvas shell, I'm going to show you that way. All right, so to Canvas. Canvas is a very important part of every class here at TCC. Every class has a unique Canvas shell, and that's where the teacher is going to put informational items, maybe videos for instruction. Maybe you'll take your quizzes there, maybe you'll take your tests there, you may do discussion posts. There'll be announcements about what's going on that week, or if there's changes in deadlines. Your grade book will be there, so you can always see where you are, how you stand in the class. It has a really cool feature too, a what if, like, what if I get a 50 on this test, or what if I get an 80 on this test? And it will show you how your grade might change without messing anything up. And then we're going to look at the Smart Thinking link. And of course, then there's a Learning Commons module, kind of walks you through some of the stuff that we're going to be looking at today. So let's go ahead and go to a Canvas shell so I can kind of walk you through it. I have not published my courses for this semester, so I don't have any grades or anything in them. But this is what a typical math Canvas shell will look like. We have, like I said, the announcement sections. Most of the instructional material is in the modules. You should have a section with your syllabus where once you put dates, and once a teacher puts up dates, it will automatically populate a calendar. I haven't put dates on mine yet, but this will be if there's a link to your Zoom class or a link to the teacher's office hours. I would look under syllabus. There may be some teachers put quizzes in this, some teachers just do them in class. Your grades, as I mentioned, you'll be able to look at your own grades. I don't have any grades, so it won't show me anything, but it will always show you how you stand. There'll always be a little thing on the side that gives you your percents and tell you how you're doing. Smart Thinking Online Tutoring is the tutoring source that I mentioned earlier that we take care of for you if you need tutoring outside of when we're open. So it may check to see if your computer's got everything it needs, or it may go straight to this page. So let's go ahead and look at tutoring. And we're going to do drop-in tutoring. If you know that tomorrow at 4 you want to work with a tutor, you can look at the schedule of future session. You can see all the different areas here that are covered. We're going to go to math, and then you pick what skills it is. I would probably say, unless you're working with some of those foundational skills that you need some brush up, or you might want to choose the basic math, I would probably go to algebra. And there must be a tutor available pretty much 24/7 for math. As soon as this little chat board pops up, you can see I can do a text message, I can do a drawing, I can draw shapes. There's a little camera icon where I could take a picture of a problem that I'm working on and upload it. So you can upload a document. So if you have a homework page that you've saved, you can upload it here, and you guys will just be chatting back and forth, and they'll be talking strategies with you and how to help you. So I hope, if you need it, it's there. I'm going to close this. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go back here. So Canvas, if you're looking for something that your teacher says is posted somewhere, it's probably in your Canvas shell. And if you can't find it, come on in and we'll help you look through it. All right, so I want to talk about the homework that most of us are using for this class. It's called Lumen, and I'm actually probably going to go back to my Canvas shell and show you. Once you try a problem, you get 3 tries on it. And if you don't get it right, it will give you the answer. And then you can just say, okay, give me a similar problem. So let's go back to my Canvas shell, and I'm going to go to the modules. And I'm going to find a homework section. And you can see these modules. Here's anything I might want to post about it. Here's actually a module all about the Learning Commons. Study skills, I'm going to be working on this with my students this semester, so I've provided some resources to help with their assignments. But let's just find, and you can see there's links to textbooks, there's videos. I'm just going to go to a random homework problem. And you'll just open it up and it'll be right there. And sometimes it's yes or no. Sometimes there's a box here. And if you click in the box, Lumen will bring up other options of things that you might need to type, like maybe your answer is a fraction, maybe you need to put infinity, or maybe there is no solution. So it's pretty smart as you go further and further into the class. This will have many more options of things to help you. And if you just don't know, do it 3 times, and then the little answer key, you'll be able to do that. And let me just put in something just so you can see. It says no. Not quite right. Check your syllabus syntax. No. All right. And it's okay. You want to see the answer? Yes. Oh, okay. And okay, now I want to try this again. I have an idea what you're looking for. I would go to get a similar question, and it will give me a blank slate, and I can try 3 more times again. All right. So the next thing we want to talk about is calculators. There's a couple of buttons that are very, very handy. Of course, there's a lot of stuff on the calculator, but one of the things that comes up a lot is Lumen is really particular sometimes whether it wants the answer as a decimal or a fraction. Your calculator is always going to give you the answer as a decimal first. It's that first line of defense. But if you want it as a fraction, it has a built-in way to get a fraction back. And this doesn't matter whether your answer is a fraction or if you're adding and subtracting fractions, multiplying, whatever. If you have something like the TI-30X, there's a little button towards the top that says fraction to decimal or decimal to fraction. And if you have like the TI-83 or the TI-84, you're going to look for the math key. It's towards the upper left. And then once you open it, you'll see the screen here, and you're looking for the first option, which says frac. As soon as you press that and enter, it'll give it back to you. All right, the other thing that I wanted to bring up just quickly, because some people really get confused, is how do I know if it's a negative number or I'm subtracting? So the short answer is if there's a number and the first thing in line and it's negative. So like say there's -8 minus 5. I would use this little negative button that's in parentheses you can see on these 2 sample calculators. If it's a middle of a bunch of different pieces, then I'm going to use the subtraction button. So that's just a little hint too to remember. And like I said, come on in if you're struggling, we will help you. All right. The other calculator thing I want to talk about, because I love Desmos, is DESMOS.com. This is a free online calculator, and it does everything you'll need it to do, including if you go to a statistics class or trig or pre-calc or calculus after this. It's got a little keyboard icon that if you press it, just like Lumen, bunch of other functions pop up, and you'll be able to do everything. It does a really nice conversion from decimal to fraction also. So again, if your teacher's using this or allows you to use it on your tests and your homework, make sure, because every teacher is a little different here, then we can help you figure out how to use it, even if they don't spend much time talking about it in class. All right, so it's that time during the workshop where we're going to do a little bit of math, kind of to get you ready for the first week or so. And so I've chosen exponents. That's what you do. So I thought, well, it might be good to review the rules that govern us as we're doing exponents. So I picked some very simple exponent examples just to kind of talk about the rules. And as you get more into it, your teacher will talk more depth and everything, but we're going to try some today. I'm going to kind of walk you through them so you can say, oh yeah, I've seen exponents. Yeah, when they say, do you know the rules? Do you know how to use them? You can say, oh yes, I do. All right, so the first one we're going to look at is, what if you have something to the 0 power? The first rule says, I don't care what your base is. If your exponent is 0, your output value is always going to be 1. And I like to joke with my students, I could even take a star, and if I put it to the 0 power, mathematically, I'm going to get a value of 1. All right, the second rule we're going to look at is years and years, many years ago, they decided we're not allowed to leave negative exponents. So we're going to use the fact that if I look at this one's inverse, I can flip it. So it starts out as a 4. And we know that every number can be rewritten as over 1. So if I do the inverse of this, that allows me to change the negative to a positive. So I kind of like to think of the fraction bar as like an upstairs and a downstairs. So it could be that something's in the downstairs and it's not happy, or it could be like this one, something was an upstairs and it wanted to go downstairs. So let me show you another quick example. So let's do x to the -5 over y to the -2. So you can see the x is on the top of the fraction bar. Its inverse would put it to the bottom. Y is on the bottom and it's not happy, so its inverse would pop it to the top. So that's a quick way to remember what to do with negative exponents. All right, the third rule says if you have two of the same things with the same base, you keep the base. Now, some people want to multiply 2 times 2 and get a 4. No, you keep that base and then you add its exponents. This only works if the bases are the same. So this would give us 2 to the 5th, which is 32. All right, the next rule I want to look at involves this one was multiplication. So with multiplication, we added. Now I want to look at a division. So it should kind of make sense that if multiplication goes with addition, division goes with subtraction. Now, I think the only tricky part for students is the fact that numbers kind of go back to the rules that we learned way on when we were doing fractions. So we're going to look at the number part first. And I will have to say this is one of my favorite things. So I'm looking at the numbers and I look to see if there's any factors that are the same so I can cancel them out. So I know that 3 goes into itself 1 time and it goes into 12 4 times. So that's all I need to do with these numbers. All right, so now I'm going to go look at the exponent part. And I want to show you visually what's going on first using this thing canceling idea, and then we'll use the rule. That way, maybe the rule will make a little more sense. So on top, it says I have 2 x's. On bottom, it says I have 7. So if we go back to that canceling, so this one would cancel this one would cancel this. And so now I look to see, well, what do I have left for my final answer? Well, on top, I have the number 4, and all my x's are canceled. So no x's remain on top. On bottom, I have a 1, but we know that multiplying or dividing by 1 doesn't change my identity at all. So I'm going to leave it off this time. And then I count how many x's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is kind of our shortcut way, right, of telling you I have 5 x's without having to write 5 x's out every time. So now I want to use this, do the same operation. I'm not going to play with the numbers, but let's just look at the exponents. So we have an x squared over x to the 7. Now there's 2 ways to do this too. So I want you to understand that you can do this the way that makes the best sense to you. You get to pick and choose. So I'm going to use rule number 2, and it says if the bases are the same for division, I'm sorry, rule number 4, if the bases are the same, I subtract. So this would keep the base and subtract. And that would give me x to the -5. Now that little warning bell should have gone off in your head because you got a negative exponent. And so now you can apply what we learned in rule number 2 And you can say, oh, okay, I can bring it to the bottom and he'll be positive, but now there's nothing left. So I have to put that little placeholder of a 1 on top to remind myself that everybody's on the bottom. So when you and I communicate and we're not in the same room, that's how I'll know that you move this to the bottom. All right, so I want to show you using kind of a little bit more intuitive way, same rule though. So x squared over x to the 7th. So I tell my students, look ahead. Where is the larger x that you know things are going to be canceling out of? So I see that the larger one is on bottom. Now I use the rule of division, which goes with subtraction. So 7 minus 2. Now there's nothing on top, so I'm going to use a placeholder again. 1 over x to the 7 minus 2 gives me an x to the 5th. So you can see where there, and I don't want you to think you have to draw it out if you have lots and lots of large numbers. If it's small and you think, let me make sure I'm doing the right thing, it never hurts to draw it out and do it visually. Cancel, see what's left, and then you can try the rule, make sure you get the same thing. All right, one last one that I want to review with you is we've done anything to 0 power, we've dealt with negative exponents, we've done multiplication, we've done division. Grouping symbols is the last thing that we want to look at. And because it's always easier if I can break these into small pieces, with grouping symbols, I always want to just give each one its own little bit of space so I can deal with it separately. So the first part means that then that the 3 to the 4th, the A third would be to the 4th, and the B to the 4th that I had would be to the 4th. So 3 to the 4th, you can do it on your calculator, or we could do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, do a little bit of grouping, and then get 81 for that. You can also just do 3 caret 4 on your calculator, or you may have an X to the Y button. You can use that. Again, if you don't know how to do it, bring it in and we'll help you. So that's the number part. Let's look at the letters. So I keep the base, I multiply the exponents. So with the A, I end up with 12, and with the B, I end up with 16. So now, just to help you understand why I wanted to spend some time with this, I want to show you a snippet from the first week's homework. Look at this, exponents. The last one should look to you just exactly what we did. You know, it's a grouping symbol, so you break it up. Do each piece separately. The first one, I didn't do one where you multiplied 2 groups, but think of it as when you have something with numbers and letters, you're going to multiply the numbers, and then you're going to deal with the things with letters. So you can do the 6 times 2 and get a 12. And then X, this is multiplication. So we talked about the fact that it's addition. So I get an 8. So you can see these are some of the exact type of problems that we just did. I want you to be prepared and feel a little bit more comfortable when we start on topics this semester. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about is I've talked to you about the Learning Commons resources. You saw the video, tutoring, resources, handouts, success coaches, lots of computers. Let's talk about what else is available on campus for you. The library has a link where you can, if you're in an online class, where you could check out a laptop, check out webcams, check out microphones if you need them. The dental hygiene program provides a really fun service of free teeth cleaning here on campus. And then when we're done, I want you to go to the TCC site and look up Student Resource Center and look at all the services there. Like, did you know we have a food pantry on campus? Did you know we have a center for veterans to hang out and get resources that are specific to them? We have a STEM center. We have mental health counselors on campus that can help you if you're stressed, whether it's from school or roommates, boyfriends, something major, very quiet, confidential. So there's lots of resources for you, in addition to fun things like clubs, and you get a free ticket to each theater program that we do, and they are excellent. So I hope that you've enjoyed this time together today and you've learned something and maybe did a little bit of review of that math so you're ready for next week or so, whenever you're watching this, that you're ready for that math class and you feel more comfortable and that you know that we're here to support you. So thank you so much for coming in and let us know if you have any other questions.